Seat, we'll get started here. So this is our quarterly meeting with the Health Board Committee meeting. Annual?
Annual, yeah, we only schedule the committees once a year unless they have specific things to come
Annual,
back to you with.
sorry. It's already been a year. It seemed like yesterday. It seemed like yesterday you were here. Yeah,
We were only missing 3 people this morning, so.
I gave them a half hour for lunch, and they're not accustomed to that, so they're on their way.
Next time we'll be on an IV drip.
And not the good drip. Just teasing. Okay, Pat?
Are we ready?
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing I'd like to say is, based on our meeting, the last meeting in August, that we feel there's been excellent progress with Austin and Isaac at quite a few of our meetings. I think almost every meeting one of them has been in attendance. And so some of the issues that we originally had are being resolved through that process, which is a lot quicker than a once-a-year meeting, so that's great. And we certainly welcome other people, even if it's just for one meeting, just to kind of, get their input and see what they think we can be working on differently. We've also started restructuring our team meetings based on some of these changes. So we used to do PRC appeals. We no longer are involved in those. Technically, we are. Actually, we're not for the most part. So that gives us a free hour that we have to restructure. Also now with the better relationship with the board of directors, that changes kind of how we're looking at things and what we're doing. And with Austin or Isaac at the meetings, again, we can get things quickly resolved. And then with James being in a new role here coming in, things are a little different there, so we're adjusting to that. And then we have 3 newish members, so it's kind of a restarting for us. And I don't know, you guys weren't at the last meeting, so Tom, Jan, and Wendy.
Wendy Hoffman.
They're new members that we're just starting to get everything going. So we're going through a lot of discussions on how we do things and how we do our meetings and what kind of issues we're gonna talk about. So the couple of things that we went back and we looked at the last minutes and what we wanted to, I guess, discuss today. And one of those, we had talked in the last meeting about a new role that is currently posted. We're hoping that we get an HR director very shortly for the health division and that they hit the ground running, because we have a lot of pent-up stuff waiting to happen. And one of those is a job that was posted for a community health worker. And the push we had for that role was really around insurance, and we spoke to that at the last workshop. But what we want their main focus, starting out anyway, is to be focused on trying to get a higher percentage of our members on healthcare insurance of some sort. And it's a little early to ask the board to do anything, but not to say, let's think about how we want to do it. And that is that when this person comes in and is trying to convince the 30% of our members that use our services and do not have any insurance at all, that it's a good idea for them to go through the process and get insurance. And that we will have a person that is available to go help them get signed up. Right now, it's a volunteer thing, is if they want to go, they can get a person, a navigator, to help them. But there's very little demand for that. And there's a few reasons, and people have said, well, it's a treaty right, I don't need to do it. And what we'll want the board to help us with is that communication when this thing hits the ground, that reminding people, yeah, but if we don't get money, we don't have money. And so, did you have something you want to say?
So those who have been around know I've been complaining about this for years. Kathy and I were both on the HS stack when the ACA rolled out. And one of the mistakes they made was they made getting a navigator program competitive, where it should have been automatic for every tribe. And it just made no sense. We did do a little bit for maybe about a year, focused on the elders, where Bonnie McCurchie
Yeah,
would go out.
yeah,
Bonnie
yeah, the
McCurchie.
meetings, yes.
Bonnie, I was thinking about her earlier. Bonnie Kulfo would go out and share with the elder groups.
Right.
But it just didn't make any sense to me that we weren't affirmatively trying to sign people up. And you're right, people get confused about, I'm entitled, so why do I got to sign up?
Right.
Plus, there is something wrong with the Affordable Care Act that you have to be low income to qualify for Medicaid expansion. But I'm glad that you guys are committing. Now, my only hope is there's big cuts coming to Medicaid and Medicare, that we don't get sucked into that, but that we insulate tribes from that, so, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is there's the CHAC group in town is very knowledgeable on all these programs, and we really look to them as a resource to help us understand some of these things. But, there are levels, so if a certain level, Medicaid may change levels, but it's still, if you're at a certain level, you can get Medicaid. Next level would be the ACA bronze plans, which are free. If you're in that middle category, make it a little too much for Medicaid, but not over 3 times the poverty limit, that you can get free health care, and we would get reimbursement then from that. And then there's others. And then another group would be when you hit 64 and are getting ready to go on Medicare, there's some things you can do to get the tribe more money there. And my understanding from CHAC is that about 5% of the people in the tribe have a Medicare Advantage type plan, where I think we could get more money back for the tribe out of that program. So there's all those opportunities, and like I say, the number of 30% of people using our services have no insurance. There's a huge opportunity there for us to get more money into the healthcare system. But it has to be a proactive role where this person's out seeking the people. When they're coming in for an appointment, we route them through and say, hey, how can we help you make this easy, especially for the ones that qualify for these programs that are free. I mean, there's really no excuse. So then where the board comes in is reinforcing that yes, it is a treaty right, but we expect the members to help us in getting money to help pay for this.
So just to close the loop on this is, over the years, I've been, again, pushing to try to get the health division to make somebody available to do this, and they haven't. To be honest, they haven't. They've assigned it to the medical social worker, which could potentially be the right placement, but that hasn't worked either. So what I've always done is I have to do my own research. I didn't send links to people, and that's a misstep, because they should be able to call the health center, and like maybe one of the first prompts should be, are you signed up for the Affordable Care Act Medicaid expansion? If you click no, automatically you get routed to somebody who can tell them how to sign up, because that's lost revenue. If we're not going after that, that's our own fault, because it should be automatic from the beginning.
Yeah, and I think the people were there. There's some people that have been trained to do it, but again, the member has to push and do it, and we need to pull, right? We need somebody that's actively pulling those people. Hey, this person signed up for an appointment at a provider. We find out they're not signed up. Let's get them in there 15 minutes early, whatever it takes. Get them signed up, make it easy for them, let them go. So that's the plan, and we'll be back when we get closer to the end of that. Any other questions on that? Okay. Another topic that's still out there for us anyway is kind of the status with Bluestone as related to the health division. Are they still involved? How much longer? What things are they still looking at? We realized that one time they were working on other stuff too, which probably isn't as much of a concern to the health board. But are they still working on health division projects? How much longer? Can anybody answer that?
I believe it's pretty limited from what I know of, and James will reach out to him occasionally, but it's pretty limited.
Okay.
Do they still work for us?
I don't believe so. Well, they're under contract only as,
Don't be too shy about it, we just want to know. if they still work for us.
they're under contract, but we try and limit the.
So it's a
amount of
pay-as-you-go
times we
thing from
call
now
them.
on?
Yes,
Is
yes,
that how it's?
yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, does anybody know contractually when the end date is for them?
I'll be finding out soon. I had a FOIA request with the same questions.
Yeah.
I have no answers yet.
We'll give you an update on that.
Pat, can you
Okay.
ask them, why is it so hard for us to be getting answers to these questions?
Okay.
Where did she need the mic? Push the button, make it green.
Anyway, when we used to come to the meetings, you guys were so gung-ho on Bluestone, blue this, blue that. Now, all of a sudden, we come to a meeting, we were discussing it upstairs. You're so quiet now. I mean, we're all tribal members, we're all serving on boards here. Let's spell it out the way it really is, not smile and all this crap.
Be honest with you, I think we got what we wanted from them, and we're moving forward and leave it in James's hands.
I think
That
they
was
got,
That
yeah.
was the intention from day one, and they helped us with a lot of stuff.
You think they got what they wanted to?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, okay. That's all I have to say.
Is there anything else, anybody, any other questions on this side on Bluestone? Okay, the other item we had was just with the EHR coming, we realize how much of an endeavor that's going to be for the health division, and we just wanted to make sure that the tribe's fully in support of getting this thing up and running and as painlessly as possible, because the longer it drags out, the more trouble it's going to be for everyone. So I don't know if you guys have any input on that or what your thinking is in that regard.
Yeah, we passed the resolution to fully support the project, and that was part of a Bluestone recommendation. Just so you know, we did get a little bit out of Bluestone, and I think we got a lot more, and you'll see it in the coming years. But you can't, change takes a long time, and we all know that we're going through a lot of growing pains. I mean, every time we make a few steps forward, we get hit with ransomware or something, we take 3 or 4 back, so just be patient. I think you'll see that we have a good CEO, and you'll see a lot of great changes. Thank you. Lana?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at this board level, I can say, because I actually asked for it, we do get a report from James in writing on the recommendations by Bluestone and the objectives that he's meeting and where we're at with those. And that's been in the works for about, I don't know, about 2 months we've been getting those. Are the health board able to see those as well? Where we're at with the recommendations and
No,
what?
we haven't, but
Okay.
we can ask for
So,
those.
yep, that's maybe something, and if he doesn't, if he can't give you the same exact one that leadership gets, that should be something that the health board has access to, what has been completed, because then that would help you guys with some of the questions.
Right,
So-
yeah, and they didn't used to have that, so, right, it was all the board was the only one that had that information. Okay.
Aaron?
So I'll share with you that, and Diane will recognize this because she's been around for all of that time, actually, is EHR, updating EHR was a challenge because we needed technology that didn't exist. It didn't exist at the IHS level. So some tribes like the Chickasaw or the really big tribes invested millions of dollars to do a patchwork to connect our antiquated RPMS to electronic health records. There's a national IHS and tribal advisory that has been working through what that looks like. And actually one of our own people, Dan Fry, is on that advisory. So it wasn't a matter of us unwilling to update. We could have spent millions of dollars trying to develop a module to make our PMS work, but as time went on, because we've been working on this for almost 20 years, tribes realized, and we realized, that would be a waste of money to try to create our own. And so there are now some software programs, and I think that's where we're at in making the selection, or maybe we've made the selection, so.
We've already made the selection, next gen.
The one, I guess, the one topic that came up is we kept hearing about this strategic plan, and that we thought that was something Bluestone was going to help us develop, and we don't really know what that looks like, or if we have one, or anything like that. So do we have a strategic plan? Do we have something in writing? Is that something we can see, or what? Or do we
I
just-
believe you
just something we
currently
say?
have one that just has to be updated.
Was that part of Bluestone's objectives?
No, that's part of the health committees,
Okay.
or the health division's objective, because they have to submit that to the feds, don't they, Aaron?
Yeah, that part we were aware of, but I thought Bluestone, that was their whole thing, was to come up with some big master plan of how we were going to make a bunch of money with the health division and things like that.
That's a restructure, not a strategic plan necessarily.
Yeah, theirs was a restructure. The strategic plan will be done by the health administrative team,
Okay.
like they normally do.
The last
Lana?
time we were here, sorry. The last time that we were here, there was, I think it was, they said, or I think it was Joel said that we did not have a strategic health plan, but I was always under the impression that we had to have one for AAA.
We do.
Yeah.
We do, but I guess the question is whether it's up to date. Because we have a really strong health strategic plan
Yeah.
that ties into metrics and deliverables.
Right.
So the question is whether or not it's up to date.
Uh-huh, right.
Diane, we worked on one with Ken Ermentinger. Several weeks.
Oh, I know, yeah.
The elder home.
And we always had to show that when I worked there for AAA or JCHO, whenever. But all of they needed that health plan, and last time we were here, Joel said we didn't need it. So, I don't know.
Well, we know it was like not updated for 3 years, something to that effect, but that is the goal of this board, is to keep a strategic plan updated. Lana?
I don't know if people are getting confused, but I just asked, where James was, because it probably would have been beneficial to everyone if, he would be in the room to hear these questions,
We thought he was, because he was just at our lunch meeting.
Yeah, and he was
We
just
assumed he was just, he was there to come
He was
here.
with us this morning as well, so, but.
Wasn't invited.
And he wasn't invited, so that's why he's not here, I just heard that. So, the board of directors has a strategic plan, so maybe that's what is getting confused in here, because I haven't seen a health strategic plan, so I'm a little embarrassed here, because we're all saying a whole bunch of different things, and I'm just kind of looking around the room. The only thing I've been a part of is a board of directors strategic plan, and that included our departments in that. We did update it. I believe Christine may be able to talk, because I know that her, office and them she guided us through that when we first started, years ago with that. And I know we updated it. So maybe that's what we're talking about. But not to put you on the spot, Christine, but nobody else is here. Can you just make comment a little bit about this? Because I know that you are in the know and you can answer a little bit better than what we sound like right now.
Yes, we all went through a strategic plan, including the board, and that's all been published. It hasn't been updated for about 5 years. I have kept mine updated, but I don't oversee the health division, so I haven't ensured that they've turned it in. I've just asked for all my department's strategic plan to be turned in for what was 24 it's 5 years ago, so they're all due in this year, in 1995. So I'm sure that Health had one, or has one, and it's just a matter of whether it's been updated. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was highlighted in the Bluestone report, and they said it was 3 years, which was 2 years ago, so you're correct, right?
Yeah.
So we're not all talking about different things. They do have a strategic plan. It hasn't been updated for 4 or 5 years.
Okay, yeah, I think that's, part of the confusion, right? Everybody's saying the same thing, but it means different things. But I guess we're still kind of unsure of exactly what the output of Bluestone was. Okay, so you said it's restructuring. Have we seen everything that they've presented as far as restructuring? I mean, we know we've seen stuff like, okay, a CEO, CIO for the health division, things like that, but is there more?
I think there's a lot more. I mean, they need a controller or a CFO that was supposed to be implemented. They discussed about the new HR department, which we see that works very well for Keewaydin. What else was there? There's
Operational efficiencies.
operational efficiencies, trying to increase the productivity of our providers. There was quite a bit.
Right, but I mean, we haven't seen any of that other than just, we heard the C-level positions that they were talking about.
Well, I think
but-
you probably have seen a lot, but you maybe just don't recognize you've seen it, right? We
Yeah,
hired a
it'd be nice to
CFO.
see, hey, here's a wrap-up report of
Yeah.
of what
Well, we
Bluestone came
hired
up
a-
with,
We
right?
hired a CFO.
Yep.
We finished the compensation study and implemented that, which was huge, right? We're moving in the direction with the HR department. We have a new EHR system that we approved and and I believe we're under contract for. So there's 4 really big changes just in the last 6 months.
Yeah, we agree. We've seen those things. It was just, we never did see, like, here's a report of, we finished our work, here's our big recommendations. We've seen bits and pieces, but we've never seen, here's the list of all the changes we're going to make.
And
So-
I agree with you, we do need a summary of that. Aaron?
Yeah.
The other big one was compensation
Right. Yep.
for recruitment and retention. So that's another big one that came from them. But then, to his credit, our new CEO didn't agree with some of the information because it kind of fell short. So he was given time to go through and try to tweak that and improve that. So remember now, he's in, I think he might be 6 months in. So, but what we do need is, because there was a time when the health board was the first to know. First to know both what we were doing, and also they were intimately involved in the strategic planning. And so that is ultimately the purpose that I see as the health advisory. But there's another value and another reason to do this. There's a lot of complaining out there. I mean, there's people who didn't support Bluestone at this table that kind of undermined the effort, whether they intentionally did it or not. And then there's a lot of people out in the community who heard that, and they're second guessing why we spent $3 million or whatever it was. And the reason we did is because we were not maximizing our revenue opportunity in recapturing third-party revenue. That's one example. And how do we improve? We're never going to get enough money from the federal government directly. So it was to our benefit. And the tribe, to their benefit, went out and visited other tribes, like Ron Allen's tribe, he's the national expert for tribal leaders on this, and showed how they were able to capitalize on third-party revenue. And this tiny little tribe is bigger than us in terms of revenue realization. And so that's a very big success of Bluestone's recommendations. But communicating that back out to the community, tribal community, in ways that they can understand it. So like articles in the tribal paper, just giving that update is the missing piece, basically. And when I attended the health board meeting with Isaac and Austin a couple months ago, you guys raised that issue. So that's something we need to be aware of, is how do we communicate the value of what we did? Because it is huge. The value of Bluestone is huge. It's revolutionary in our ability to be self-determined, self-governed, and raise our own revenues.
So have all those objectives been turned over to James then, as far as provider efficiency and things like that? Are those in James' cart now? So we can check back with him as far as his reporting.
Like health center we visited in Washington, just to give you an example of comparison, they see about 16,000 patients, right? And their third-party revenues is in the $50 million range. We see about the same amount of patients, but our revenue range is about 25 million. So then you ask us why we would hire Bluestone. There's a very good example. If we're leaving that much money on the table, we had to do something. We had to start somewhere, and we couldn't find no expert within the tribe to assist us in that endeavor. So I don't ever regret my decision hiring Bluestone. I think it's going to pay off well into the future.
So I guess we're looking forward to seeing how that compensation study helps impact our ability to attract providers. I think we still, we don't know if there's been any huge movements yet on that. I think we're still struggling along, just trying to fill some roles. And hopefully, we haven't seen the details of that compensation study, but hopefully they're addressing non-compensation related enticements to get providers in, because it's always going to be a struggle. It's a struggle for non-native areas too, so. Okay. Anything else? Anyone on the health board? Tom Tufnell's in here, so we're not going to talk about the VA today, so okay. I'll throw that out for him just so he was mentioned in the meeting.
Isaac, I would just say, as we get ready to update the strategic plan, I think that the administration, the CEO, it would benefit him to come to the health board to say, here's how we're going to do it. We'll lay it out, maybe pick up some of what was done before. I think our champion on this, we disagreed on some things, but Mary Beth was excellent with strategic planning. So maybe look at what we did before, look at the metrics. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, just update the previous plan. But the health board should be intimately involved in helping to create what that looks like. So.
Any other questions for the health board?
Hey, they're all pretty quiet out there. What's going on? Yeah, you.
Well, I had one thing. I don't know if this is going to work. Were you going to mention about the loan forgiveness? Or one of the items of the sheet that I shared earlier
I didn't put
today?
a mark by it, so I forgot to do that. Yep, go ahead.
Well, I had shared some information.
You
with
need to
the
get closer to the
board
mic
today
there.
Of different,
Wendy,
Oh.
get closer. Yeah, it's
yeah, I
pretty
had
sensitive.
shared some information, some recommendations and requests with the health board, and with the intent that we were coming to meet with you guys today. And this is my first time meeting as a health board member with the board of directors, so I wasn't really sure what the process and how this was all going to evolve. So I did up a sheet, and one of the, I identified probably 8, and we reviewed these earlier during our meeting today. And one of them is the student loan forgiveness. So what this has been shared with James, so he's going to research what opportunities are feasible on this sheet, and I can share this with you if you like. But one thing that I wanted to bring to his attention for recruitment and retaining professional healthcare providers is the loan forgiveness. You know, we're aware that the state and the federal government, IHS, have different opportunities for loan forgiveness, but the tribe could actually have internal system that we could create. That could be feasible, so I've requested that he look at the feasibility of that.
Aaron?
So I hate to sound like a know-it-all, but Kathy made me learn all this stuff. So HRSA is the advisory that we need to be in close contact with the loan repayment plan through Public Health Service and Indian Health Service. Now, unfortunately, and this is not partisan, currently the OMB HHS Passback, which is the direction to all the HHS agencies, has proposed to eliminate loan forgiveness for all public health and all Indian Health Service doctors. So whether or not it'll survive is a big question. Our tribe is intimately involved with our federal policy firm, Sonosky, in filing lawsuits and, trying to overturn some of the decisions that have been made. But as of right now, the HHS is planning to eliminate the loan repayment. If it doesn't get eliminated, it's awesome because we can entice and recruit people to pay off their loans if they work for a tribe, public health service or Indian Health Service detail. But we have to the getting's good. We got to get our foot in the door if we want, and we have to be more aggressive than we've been in the past. This is another thing that I've shared with the health division over the years that has, in the past, just had kind of a laissez-faire approach to it. If they ask, they ask. If they don't, they don't. But it should be part of our recruitment. Christine and I, years ago, created the recruitment position and wanted that to be an expert in being able to recruit people and say, okay, how much do you owe in loans? Maybe we can help you to get qualified for the loan repayment plan if you can work for us, and bundle that because it can be an effective part of recruitment. So it's a good recommendation, but fingers crossed that it'll exist after a month from now.
Yeah. And James did mention about including that in the marketing materials for recruitment. I think that's it. I can share my stuff after. Thank you.
Anybody?
Hey, can I share something here with you guys? Well, you're not going to shut me up on an old lady anyway, and so, as you already said, Aaron. But I was just looking over at all the papers and different things that my kids have gotten throughout the years from the board of directors or the tribe. My God, I mean, they've gotten trips all over the place. They've gotten, my granddaughter, one of them, the last granddaughter is in school, and she got all A's, and she got a check from the tribe. She's in high school. And then the ones in college, they get their stipends or whatever it is. And my one girl went downstate with her dad to some kind of meetings. But I mean, a lot of kids, regular kids in high school don't have those things. I mean, do you realize the benefits you give our kids? I mean, I might bitch a little bit once in a while, but mostly...
Never.
Not me. But anyway, I'm just really proud of you people, what you're doing for our kids. I mean, I just can't imagine. I never had that stuff when I went to school, but I also never had straight A's. But it's one of those things. I just want to tell you, we really appreciate, most of the people do, what you're doing for our children in any way possible.
I think and wish we had more members that had your encouragement. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have to say, for my daughters, they went to school and one graduated with 3.5 and the other, or 3.95, and the other one graduated with a 4.0, but it was paid for by the Indian tuition. So, I mean, it's awesome. They don't have no student loans at all, so it's nice they can hit the street and work, and so, yeah, I appreciate everything that I get.
Something else I just saw in the tribal paper was now they're going to help with the graduation pictures for seniors, which I thought that was really wonderful also. And that's what that program, I think, that helps with sports when they're, yeah.
Well, a lot of those programs, and that's why when we looked at Bluestone, the reason is we wanted to treat it more as a business so we could generate more profits. The more profits we get, the more services we can offer, like those type of services.
I think our kids kids have the best of both worlds. You know, they can do tribal stuff and then go to school and get their benefits.
Well, it sure does help us at J.K. Boateng School. We can offer so much more than a public school or a private school can offer. Anybody else? Well, we want to thank you for coming here, and we'll make sure we get you some updates on Bluestone. I'll bring them to the next meeting for you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, sorry I missed last Thursday, I think it was. I was on vacation, so. You know, a happy wife, happy life, so.
share my screen if that's okay. Excellent. Well, as I'm getting this set up, just to a quick intro, I think I've met most everyone, but Josh Hovey, I'm a partner at Bellwether Public Relations. We have the honor of serving as your communications team. And this presentation was originally scheduled for the beginning of February, and that got delayed for all the reasons that you're very familiar with and have been dealing with since. But I'm glad to be in front of you today and able to give you an update on our 2024 campaign with the Natural Resources Department, as well as I'd like to touch on some of our 2% communications as well. So I'll just share my screen so that we can have it available and recorded. And I've sent a PDF as well so that that can be distributed to the board. All right. Does everyone see it now? We good? Okay. So just to start things off, our team has been running the 7 Generations social media pages, which is the pages that we use to communicate for the Natural Resources Department and all the great work that they do. These pages are about 1.5 years old, and we've done everything organically. We don't put any dollars to promote the pages or grow them. Everything we're doing is done just with the content we're producing and the folks who are engaging with it. So overall in 2024, just a quick overview, we've sent 371 posts across the 2 platforms, Facebook and Instagram. That's generated over 248,000 impressions and a really high engagement rate of about 9.6%. That's on average, you see an engagement rate oftentimes of like 2 or 3% on a lot of pages. And so we do have a very strong engagement rate. We've been able to almost double the followers over the course of the past year. And what we've learned, and we'll go deeper into some of those lessons, but people and video perform very well, and so we're going to look to capture more of that in the coming year. But just to break down our platforms and how they're looking is Facebook is the main driver right now, and we've slowly grown Instagram, and but we see that as a page for more focused growth in the future. Most of our content, when we share it to the 7 Generations page, it does get shared to the Sioux Tribe main page, which helps amplify visibility. There's about 12,000 people on the main page versus only 1,800 or so on ours. So we always try and amplify that across the page when it's relevant. Specifically on Facebook, we've had 5 posts with impressions over 10,000 views. Those included about the fish donations to the Elder Program, Robin Clark joining the team and joining the NRC board, and some of the other fisheries content that we've been able to produce. But we always try and feature on a regular basis the tribe staff out in the field doing the work. The posts that picture people doing things and shouting them out for the great work they're doing usually get the highest engagement. And so we continue to work on strategies with the team to remind them to get pictures while they're out in the field and to help us gather that content. And again, like I said, the 2 top best posts for last year, we did one with an image from inside the Manistee Fish Market because they were processing the fish from the fisheries program for the elders. And so that got us over 14,000 views. And then the post celebrating 20 million walleye set into our local lakes and rivers, that one got over 10,000 impressions as well. And so anytime we can do more posts that they're uplifting, they are really highlighting the important work that you're doing, it's performing really well for us. On Instagram, I think some of the key things that we're finding is that We're able to be a little bit more creative with Instagram. It's the reels that you're allowed to do, and just the audience that's on there. It's going to be the platform where we're going to see the most growth over the next year or two. And so we've sent 126 posts there, generated 21,000 impressions. It's been really strong, and what we're learning for the next year is that we really want to lean more into video and be able to do more reels, because that's what's going to get those, the algorithm just likes it better, and we're going to be able to get more views on the work that's being done. The two top performing posts for Instagram was the Sacred Waters film promotion, and then Robin joining the commission. And like I said, we're going to focus on people, increasing video. Instagram's going to be a key platform that we're going to look to grow and really harness that for the coming year. So all the work that we're doing and the weekly or biweekly coordination that we do with the natural resources teams is leading into those strategies. Any questions on those social platforms and the work that we're doing?
Any questions?
Great. Yeah, the one thing I'll just note then is that we have hired a new graphic designer, and she's helping us do a visual refresh so that in this second year of really driving hard into these platforms, we're going to kind of shift up the visual elements and give it a fresh look so that we're keeping people engaged and showing them something new every time. With the news media, so in addition to managing the social media, we're always trying to make sure that the tribe's getting positive news coverage as well. The top stories were the fisheries documentary, the consent decree appeal, or I should say fishing decree because we don't consent, cedar bark harvesting, the resolution naming more than human relatives and the rights that they have as beings, and then Robin again getting really strong coverage. In the 25 news releases that we sent, using the tracking tools that we have, the maximum estimated reach, which this is something good for benchmarking purposes, but I don't subscribe to the fact that it got 14 million views, but that's just the amount of traffic on the websites of these news stations and platforms that host these articles. A maximum viewership of 14 million people. And so year to year, we'll continue to track that and benchmark it so we can see, did we do better than last year? Did we do worse? What can we improve upon? That sort of thing. Our top stories, 5 stories on the fisheries film, 7 stories on the fishing decree appeal. Really strong visibility on the sites that covered those topics. And then I wanted to touch quickly on the awareness campaign. So just at the end of last year, we started working on an awareness plan for promoting the 2% contributions, where they're going, the communities that are receiving them, how they're benefiting the region. And so we started working with the team to identify what are those top stories of the contributions that the tribe is making, and how do we highlight those better. So the first thing we did was we created a website. We worked with the Kuwaitan team to build a landing page within the casino website where all of the information about the 2% program can live. If you go to the bottom of the casino website, it's right in the footer there, you'll see a 2% contributions link. And then we developed plans to make sure that we're promoting in news media, on social media, where those funds are going. And it's going, so far, we're really, really happy with the visibility that we've gotten. The Rudyard Pool post alone in early March, that got over 43,000 impressions. And just to put that in the context for you, At the height of the cyber attack, the tribe's posts updating the community about the attack didn't get as much visibility as this Rudyard Pool post. So we're actually being able to, at a time when things are really chaotic, really stressful, there's some, negative news out there, we're able to balance that out with some positive. So I thought that was really important. We also did a post highlighting the Historical Society in Pickford and the Sioux Township Fire Department contributions, and then also the Mackinac County Animal Shelter. Each of those getting nearly 20,000 views at the short end and over 20,000 views at least. So these are really positive stories that the community likes. They like seeing the good work the tribe is doing. And the takeaway from that is the more that we can work with you all to identify what are those contributions that we really want to promote, make sure that we're sending out photographers, videographers to help highlight those contributions. And then if there can be ribbon cuttings, news conferences for the opening of a facility that might be funded or whatever it might be, happy to work with you all to make sure that we're highlighting this good work so that we can keep the momentum going.
Hey, Josh, got
Yes.
a question for you. Lana?
Yeah, Josh, who identifies the content that's put out there right now?
We work with Jessica and Letitia and staff to help identify those. I believe they've sent a few requests to the board. And so, especially as these decisions are being made for the spring contributions, let's work together and identify what those contributions that we want to call out and make sure that we're getting those pictures. But
So and that answered my question, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So for instance, yesterday we did a groundbreaking, and I know that other units did their groundbreaking on certain things for our quadplex in Newberry for elderly housing.
Yep.
What is the process we would use in order to get that posted or out there? I mean, I could do it myself, but.
Yeah.
I mean, what's our process here? I just want to see how the process works internally. Do we send that to Christine? Do we send that to Jess? And then they send to you? That's how that would work?
Yep. So that's the best thing to do is send it to Christine and Jessica, and then we work with them to basically format the photo and
Our tribal
help tell
paper
the story.
was there, so it's going to be, in the tribal paper, that's what I was kind of waiting on. But-
Yeah, and we work closely to develop those stories, whether we're writing sometimes we write the article for the tribal paper, sometimes staff does. It just kind of depends on capacity, but it's a collaborative effort.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Aaron?
So what we tried to do in the past, which only worked for a little period of time, and then people refused, is we used to have a requirement with communications that they would have to submit anything that's in the planning, anything, had to go to communications, and then we would collaborate with, when it was Roger Martin Waymeyer, to just kind of polish it up. But right now, I don't know that we have an internal protocol that requires each of the departments to send it off to communications. Sometimes we do. I think for the most, we might do it. Okay.
Ask one more question, only because I'm confused. Okay, so Waymeyer, we're done with Waymeyer now, right? Bellwether is Waymeyer. Okay, that's why, okay,
Yes.
got you, okay.
I'm the new partner at what was once named Waymeyer.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, so that does conclude the information I was hoping to present. So if there are any other questions on 2% or anything else, I'm happy to answer them.
One thing that might be helpful is, and I don't know that we're doing it yet, is, so Letitia is the portal on 2%.
Yes.
So, but I think maybe we have a worksheet that she sends out to the, so that all the details are pulled together, so we get all that information, because I don't know that we're hitting on all cylinders. I don't think we're getting all the 2%. I think we should do all the 2%. So Jessica used to be in charge of that at one time, and she's She's learning that she never gets to let go of anything she ever worked on. The youth sponsorships, the golf scholarships, everything that she once worked on, she's still assigned.
And our team does meet bi-weekly on 2%, and so we're able to add in any new, programs or contributions that we want to highlight. We're able to start building those into our plans. Yeah.
So one thing I guess I would ask is that from the culmination of all of that should go into a portfolio that we could publish maybe annually. And I don't mean like a whole bunch of expensive publishing, but just having it done annually. Because people may not know this, but the reason why we won Racinos in 2004, that's when the governor teamed up with the speaker, Republican speaker, Granholm, Democrat, Republican Speaker Johnson, and they supported Racinos, and that was going to potentially put casinos, Indian casinos, out of business. And at the time, there was a marketing firm, so the tribes got together, we fired the marketing firm, and then we pulled in because Roger Martin and Martin Waymeyer was already our client, we were already their client, and they put together the plan that showed how 2% was so strongly supported in our communities. And we did testimony from the local, this is probably when you were in high school, but we did testimonies at the locally, and that's how we beat back the Racinos. They were winning in the polls. They were going to win and put us out of business, but we beat them back. So it'd be nice if we take all of these individual events and put them in a nice glossy that we do once a year to show the culmination of the benefit for 2%. We could share that with legislators too, so they can see that we're a good community member.
Yeah, and the goal of the website is to keep building it so we can do that virtually as well.
Lana?
Yeah, and Aaron, said what I was going to, that just those ones, Red Yard, and positive stuff, or honey gets the bee, or whatever they say. So, the more good stuff that you got, did I say that?
Honey gets the bee?
Honey gets the bee, or bee gets the honey, whatever it is. Well, whatever. Sweetness or whatever. The more sweetness there is, I don't know what it is, but that good stuff, it has to be out there, all of it. Because even right now, I couldn't tell you, what Unit 3 used their money for, but when people ask me. So if we could get that out there, because just those little ones, got almost 3,000. So I'm hoping that we see more of that, because back in the day, and Jess was in charge of that, our 2%, you couldn't look anywhere without seeing it. Sioux Tribe had it going on, and, to get back to that where, everybody knows, the Sioux Tribe gave that. They could walk down, drive down the street and know that we gave money towards that. That is not heard of. So with you guys, I'm hoping, and I agree with Aaron, that information is on there so they know where we put that money, and we can take ownership of that. And just the other thing, that was one of United Tribes' first endeavors, was that Racino and us getting together there at United Tribes. So I remember that.
That's when we tricked Senator Allen into endorsing vote no on Racinos.
Yep.
We got a big picture with them wearing a button, and then he had to support us.
And you said that this is news to me, so it's good news, that link to where all of our 2% is on the Kuwaitans website?
Yeah, it's at the very bottom of the Kuwaitan site. If you scroll down there, you'll find the link to 2%. And, it's not a super flashy page right now, but as we continue to, work year to year on the contributions, we'll be able to add more and share good news. So that's the starting point, yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Kim?
Aaron, when you say all 2%, you mean long-term and short-term, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you never hear a whole lot about the long-term 2%. It's the short-term that people know more about. Okay. I just wanted to make sure both were going to be included. And then I know why it's at the bottom of the casino website. I think it should be on the Sioux Tribe website too, because when people look for it, they don't go to the casino and,
Right.
even though that's where it's coming from.
Right.
But,
Yeah,
okay.
I think long-term, that's the goal. My understanding is that the tribe is working toward a new website at some point, and so there was just discussion of whether we could do the casino website faster, and two, weren't sure if we'd be, getting into timelines of new website or not, but that's absolutely
Okay.
the goal. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh,
Lana.
I was under the understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, Christine's here. Are you guys working on our new website?
No, we are not.
Okay. No.
Have an RFP out.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Josh, got any more?
Nothing else on my end. I appreciate
Any
your
other
time.
questions for Josh? Hey, Josh, I have one question. Has anybody reached out to you to, put something out about the ransomware and how we're better protected, or anything to combat the negative stuff that's been out there?
We haven't done a post in quite a while, and so that's absolutely something we can do. So yeah, happy to work with Aaron and the rest of the team on kind of a recap or highlight update. That sounds good.
You guys did the video that Austin did, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we helped.
Yeah, that was good.
We helped with
Slick.
both videos, and then we, basically all of the social media updates from the tribe, general tribe itself, we managed. Also, the update, the longer article, both articles in the tribal papers, the February, or is it March, the March and April papers, we also supported, so.
Be really good to have another video of our directors actually gaming at our own machines and saying how secure they feel.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, others can gamble.
You got some gambling staff.
Not, I didn't say the board.
Remember when Joe Edger used to win jackpots?
Yes.
Sitting in the room.
We used to gamble on breaks.
Well, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Player development would page them. Say, wait a minute, now we know.